Welcome to the All About Alts podcast, where we explore the world of alternative investing to help you find financial independence. Join our host, NewView Trust's president, Jason DeBono, as he covers a variety of topics with different guest speakers to discuss tax and alternative investing strategies. It is never too late to start taking control of your financial future, and we are so excited for you to be joining us for this opportunity to hear from some of the best in the business.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the All About Alts podcast. I am Jason DeBono, your host, and today is the culmination or wrap-up, if you will, of season one. What an amazing journey this has been. Thank you to our loyal listeners out there that continue to tune in each week and let us share a little bit of knowledge and expertise on how to build wealth in the most tax-efficient manner, utilizing alternative investments. And so it's kind of a funny story going all the way back, because when we started this 28 episodes ago, our goal was to get to 10. That was kind of the magic number, and then to 20. And here we are wrapping up on show 28. So we are going to take a short break for a couple of months, enjoy the holidays as we get a little bit busier towards year end and wrap things up here at NewView. But we'll also be recording all along the way so that we can get started right at the beginning of the year with a whole bunch of new content. We've got some great guest speakers lined up and some great subjects to be covering. So excited for that. So, what we thought we'd do today was just wrap up with a little bit of looking back at kind of where we started and how we got here, and some of the great episodes that we've had along the way. For those that maybe haven't been listening since the very beginning, if you hear something here, you may want to go back and rewatch or re-listen to a previous podcast. We've had some just absolutely amazing speakers. We've had about 25 guests over the last 28 weeks. We've had a couple of episodes where we've talked about some regulatory updates, Secure Act 2.0. If you haven't watched that one, that's amazing. There's a lot of tax law changes that have gone into effect in the original Secure Act as well as Secure Act 2.0. And we kind of broke those down and really went through those. So I'd encourage you, if you need to start somewhere, start there. All of the episodes that we've done without guests are really centered around investments as it relates to building wealth, specifically through your retirement account, which has been pretty fun. We talked about the top 10 alternative asset investments that we're seeing our clients make. And that's always been a fun kind of thing to talk about, because our clients are really out in the forefront. And when you see the power of self-direction, you see what individuals are out buying and investing into. It's kind of cool to see some of those investment trends. And so hopefully you guys were able to catch that one. We also did an episode on giving back. For those that know me or know NewView, giving back is kind of the core of who we are. We believe in serving others. It's one of our core values here in our organization. And we had our CEO also co-founded Share the Love, which is our 501c3 that delivers wheelchairs throughout the world, as well as provides aid in a variety of other means as it relates to mobility needs and opportunities to serve that market. And so that was a lot of fun. What I loved about that episode was Glenn shared a lot about kind of the power of giving back. Glenn started NewView 20 years ago, and just kind of how that philanthropic bug can kind of be so infectious. And going back, we used to kind of raise money and try to, donate here and there, and to kind of see that grow and evolve in 2017 into its own 501c3. And we're super excited this year. We're going to have delivered 11 containers of wheelchairs throughout the world at 280 chairs per container. So really proud of the accomplishments and the team at Share the Love, and really proud to have Glenn on the show and just share how to give back. And so for those of you, that have your own businesses or that are self-employed or working on building wealth, never lose sight of the component of giving back. Technology, some cool disruptors in the tech market space for real estate. If you missed the episode with Lofty or PadSplit, both are really cool, disruptive type technologies. Lofty is fractionalizing investments into rental real estate, allowing people to buy alongside, a myriad of investors. And they kind of facilitate that technology that enables that. So if you don't necessarily want to go out and own the whole property and deal with all the necessary items that come with that, this is pretty cool, because you could literally buy $500 worth of a property, and you live and earn money based on the success of that property. So pretty cool. It's not to be kind of mixed in with like a REIT. These are individual properties, one-off, rental properties that you're buying part of. So pretty cool there. Pad split. This was actually a newer concept to me. I absolutely love it. It's clearly growing in popularity. But pad split is all about creating this kind of workforce housing and renting out a property by the room. And so this is the way that they work through and facilitate that and kind of create this marketplace. It's absolutely incredible. I think what jumps out at me, and if I look back on that episode, is just comparing how much money a single family, let's say 4-bedroom house rents for compared to how much 4 bedrooms in that exact same house rent for individually. And the returns are just unbelievable. So that was really cool, but both really technology companies that are disrupting kind of the way that we think and we invest. We've had some great real estate topics. We've been really fortunate in having a lot of great guest speakers, people that are running a lot of investment firms, specifically in real estate. We have covered farmland. We've covered build to rent properties. We've covered syndications, taking a project, a property. It could be self-storage, could be assisted living, could be rental properties, but it's pools of these investments, and it's selling them off to individual investors under a syndication. And that has been really cool because you get a lot of different perspectives of a lot of different investment firms. And while there's some overlap in terms of how real estate works and, multifamily, versus self-storage or office or whatever the asset class may be, man, it was really cool to have some guest speakers on there that could share insight into how they think about these types of assets. We also covered fund structure as it relates to syndications. And so kind of how are these funds structured and what's different and how and where do you look for the fees that are being charged? So big fan personally of syndications because I think it's an opportunity for individual investors to invest into kind of institutional type product. But as always with syndications, you got to understand the product and you got to understand the individuals that are running that syndication and make sure that they're going to be good stewards of your funds, that you believe in their investment thesis and philosophy, right? And that the deal itself makes sense. So due diligence there is absolutely key. In fact, a couple of those, we actually really spent more time on the due diligence side, right? What should investors be looking for before making a syndication investment? So that's been really fun. Student housing, right? A lot of fun there. Kind of an interesting asset class coming out of COVID, and a lot of question marks as to what would that look like. And it's amazing just how resilient student housing's been, and how the demand continues to go up, even as a lot of schools still have virtual learning as part of the curriculum. But it's been kind of cool to see that. We talked about ADUs, right? These are these additional dwelling units. It's taking a property that you have and adding a little dwelling. It could be a tiny home. It could be a smaller, out parcel on your own property. But these ADUs are pretty cool. And what I've learned through kind of that whole discussion was it's all about maximizing ROI. And if I've got a 1 acre property with one, single family dwelling on it, and I'm allowed to have 3, all right, what a cool way for me to just add some of these smaller ADUs as opposed to kind of building out more properties. And it's amazing what some of these properties are renting for and how they're using the ADU rent money to pay for their own mortgage payment, and some pretty cool stuff there. Staying on that theme of student loan or student housing, which is an amazingly resilient asset class, we spent a lot of time on one of the shows talking about student debt, specifically dealing with a company that actually buys distressed student loan debt. And this one was really, for me, an intriguing show because, I don't necessarily follow that market, too well. I'm moderately familiar with the general premise, but, my understanding of kind of this student debt was such an issue and such a polarizing topic because of everything that's going on in Washington and loan forgiveness and coming out of COVID and how does all that look? And it was, really appreciated getting some good information about what that really means. And when they say they're forgiving debt, who are they really forgiving it for? And so it was really insightful and got to learn a lot on that show about how student debt works, especially the distress side. which is pretty cool. We've had a couple of different podcasts this season on strategy. And that's been really fun, hearing people's, different ways to structure or strategize, not even so much in asset class, but more so just in how do you approach the market. Uh, and we had a young gentleman who I've known since he was just a kid, and it's been amazing to watch him grow up and grow into following his dad's footsteps in the investment marketplace and just what he's done. And so that was on investing in your 20s, but I wouldn't worry if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s. I still think it's a good podcast for you to go back and listen to, but really fun to talk through investing with someone that's been there and done that, and done some pretty cool strategies along the way. So that's definitely another one to take a look. Those that are, kind of more familiar with self-directed investing, there's a strategy called a checkbook control IRA. We had an attorney on very early on in the show who was helping us kind of understand how does that structure work. What do you kind of have to look for? Where are the landmines you want to avoid? And how do you get that out there in the marketplace as a tool to not only have your IRA invested in alts, but have this LLC that gives you a little bit more flexibility, so long as you kind of follow those rules and boundaries. So anytime you can get attorney, accountant level education on the podcast, that's just absolutely exciting. And we're really glad to have been able to kind of walk through that, because it's a pretty cool strategy and one that people should be taking a look at. So, overall, it's been just an incredible first season. Getting to show number 28 has certainly come with some challenges, but man, has it been rewarding. If you guys are avid listeners, you guys know one of my favorite parts of the show is always the quirky questions. And I'm always amazed when we get new ones in and see what our listeners are continuing to submit. So thank you guys for that. And then every week we end the show with the learn before you burn. I can't tell you how perked up my ears get when we get to that section. There's just so much wealth and wisdom in the guests that we've been fortunate to bring on the show. But to be able to not only have them kind of drop knowledge on us through the entire show, but to be able to have them dig down, in memory lane and kind of look for a time in their life where they had a really hard experience that taught them a really valuable lesson, and share that with us. And, we call it the learn before you burn. I think that was Maggie, our show producer's creative wisdom. But the idea, is really just to help us all understand, how do we learn more lessons without having to have the painful experience? And so I hope, that you guys are listening in and tuning in till the very end of each show, because that learn before you burn segment may just be the most powerful nuggets that our guests can share with us. And as always, if we can get that lesson, but not have to go through that experience. And I think if you guys are listening regularly and you hear some of those learn before you burn segments, you'll realize a lot of those lessons were learned the hard way. And inevitably, we've all got some hard lessons that we've got to learn. But I certainly want to navigate a few lessons or a few experiences if I can, but still not lose sight of the lesson that may have been an outcome of that. So that part of the show has always been fun as well. So what's next, right? Where are we going? What's this All About Alts podcast season 2 looking like? How's it shaping up? Well, a couple of things. Number one, we are gonna kick it off right after New Year. That way, we're all fresh. We are still recording on our regular schedule, so we want to make sure that we can keep producing the show every single week and make sure that we've got great quality content and great quality speakers that line up with that. We've got some themes coming. Stay tuned on what those are, but we're going to try to run, 3 or 4 in a row that follow the same theme or kind of follow the same storyboard. I think that's some feedback that we got from our listeners that I think is great feedback. So if we're going to dig into real estate, we may dig for 4 straight weeks in real estate and really, try to not just scratch the surface, but to really get into it. What else is ahead? I think a lot of technology. There's just so many different disruptive technologies that are entering the real estate space. And it may not necessarily be on the investment side. Some of this may be how to manage your portfolio more efficiently, how to manage a property utilizing technology. So we've been in some conversations with some pretty exciting tech and some pretty exciting products for the investment marketplace. And so we think that's definitely something we want to make sure that we're weaving in and incorporating into season 2. We're also going to focus a lot more in season 2 on rules and regulations. We're surprised but excited to get a lot of feedback from our listeners on really wanting to understand where the boundaries from a legal standpoint are on the investment side with retirement money. And so we're going to delve into a few of those topics, and we're really going to dig into some of the more advanced level strategies that you can have with an IRA. And I think we really don't touch too much on that. We kind of talk, around more investment philosophy, but that's been something that's been requested. So you can look for more of that in season 3 as well. As always, if there's regulatory updates that come, we'll certainly make sure that we pass those on. Secure 2.0, as we talked about, one of our earlier on episodes, was pretty big legislation that had a lot of juice in the IRA side that we normally don't see. So sometimes there's 1 or 2 updates, or they're very deliberate. So we'll keep an eye and see if there's a secure maybe 3.0 or any other investment updates or regulatory updates that we can pass on and share to our audience as well. Last but certainly not least, our goal and desire is going to be to keep driving tax advantaged investing. We just can't underscore how valuable the tax side of this game is. And so we're going to make sure that we're bringing in more tax experts, more people that can help understand the numerics. But as you've heard me say many times, it's all about keeping more of what you make. It's hard enough to find a good investment. It's hard enough to see that investment into fruition. It's hard enough to exit the deal and take profits. And it's even harder to keep it all. Right. And so we want to make sure that we're weaving in and making sure that we're spending a lot of time talking about how to keep more of the profits that you're making, so that if you do have a good investment strategy and a good investment thesis, and you find the right offering of the right asset class, and you execute the way that you want to, and you're rewarded with return as a result, we want to make sure that you're not penalized by paying tax or needlessly paying tax on all or some of those earnings. So that's something that we're going to make sure that we're talking a good detail about and weaving into the entire season for season 2. If you want to go back and watch any of the previous shows, you can do that on any of your podcast platforms. They all list out all of the shows, and they're all easily available there. We're on all the major podcast platforms, or whichever one you're currently listening to us on. If you want a little bit of detail about each episode, you can go to the blog section on our website, newviewtrust.com, and that's under the educational resources tab. And we use the blog because we can spell out a little bit more detail about each class, which is pretty cool. And so if you want to go on there and take a look at the various shows and see who the guest speaker was and some bullet points about what that show entailed, I would encourage you to do that as well. That'll be a great place for you to visit. While you're on our website, we do have a series of live classes and educational content that we run on a weekly basis. Here, it's run by an entire team. We bring in some guest speakers on a variety of different topics, but our live class calendar is still full. We're not taking any hiatus there. So if you do want some educational content, a little bit less podcast and a little bit more, deliberate education, then I'd encourage you to get onto our website and look at our upcoming class schedule and take a look at what we've got going there. There's a lot of great content, a lot of great speakers up ahead, and we want to make sure that you're taking full advantage of that. Follow us on our socials. If you're not doing that today, we're on all the social platforms as well at New View Trust. But come on there and take a look. We've got a variety of things that we constantly push out into the marketplace. We certainly like to have a little bit of fun, but most importantly, we want to make sure that we're continuing to push information and knowledge out. And that's a great resource as well. It'll help you keep up to date. We've got a lot of events that we have and educational resources. We want you to take full advantage of those. And the way to do that is simply by, getting on to that website and signing up for classes or signing up for the newsletter or any of the things that you want to keep furthering your education. Last thing, as always, if you like the show, if you want to share, subscribe, please do so. Most importantly, if you have not left us a review yet, please get on there. Click that review button. We'd love 5 stars and some candid feedback from you. Our goal is to make this show better and better on a weekly basis, and we'll continue to work hard to do that. If you do have quirky questions or you have topic ideas, or maybe someone you want to refer over that you think would be a great guest on the show, please send that over to our show producer, Maggie, with a Y, at newviewtrustwithau.com. That is it for the recap. We absolutely cannot thank you enough for being so loyal to the show, spending 30 minutes to an hour with us every week and we really are just genuinely appreciative of that time and effort you invest in us. And hopefully we're continuing to invest good quality knowledge back to you. And as always, if you've got topics, let us know. But otherwise, happy investing, everybody. Have a happy holiday season as we close out 2023. And we'll see you guys right back here in early 24.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope the information within this podcast has given you the tools that you need to find your way to financial independence. We would love to partner with you on this journey. Text ALTS, that's ALTS, to 407-708-1853 to learn more about how to get started today. Don't forget to follow us to make sure you don't miss a second of content, and we'll see you next week.